The Pledge of Allegiance will now be led by Chief of Staff Tax, followed by a moment of silence and reflection.
If willing and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
The clerk will now call the roll. Please correct the pronunciation of your name if it's incorrect.
Apple. Baber. Barnes. Barr. Bracy. Bryant. Calder. Cost. Creed. Darby. Durham. Galavati. Galt. Goldstein. Hamilton. Harvey. Heater. Hensley. Hurd. Howe. Kuhn. Kwame. Keene. LaPinta. Lapsley. Lazarenu. Lynn. Malachi. Miller. Montalto. Morgan. Wynn. Peterson. Rangavajula. Ravi. Sane. Sellers. Badlamani. Vaught. Wenzel. Whitehead. Miller. Spittler. Kay.
With a quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of September 27th, 2023, as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We're now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with our special guest, Vice President of the Residence Hall Association. You are recognized to give a report before the body.
Cool. Hello, my name is Will Dora. I am the Vice President of RHA. Claire is not here. She's in a meeting. I may sometimes appear here and give this RHA like update and stuff like that. Maybe I won't ever again. Who knows? Anyway, we've actually had a really busy week as far as legislation. Beginning with our Bates neighborhood, was actually very passionate about changing lighting. So Bates passed legislation about LED light bulbs, changing all of the lighting in both Bates West and Bates House with LED light bulbs. Our Sumter neighborhood, which is historic in McBride, not historic, honors, was passing stuff about water fountain filter checks. So if you look around campus, there's a lot of times where the filter is actually red. So they're saying that they should actually check those. We also passed a little bit of appreciation for Tenders, Love, and Chicken, the community table ghost kitchen. Just a shout out to Dining for adding some type of like late night option. The Quads neighborhood also talked about how the green quad couches are kind of horrible. They're falling apart, they're multicolored. They just said this should be fixed. So we'll see what happens. Also, a lot of work has been going into our conference. I'm sure Claire has already talked about the fact that we're hosting a conference October 27th through the 29th. We have around 200 people from 30 different universities coming. So we're doing a lot with that. A lot of our executive board has been more occupied with that than RHA duties. So we're trying to do both. Also, the advocacy committee is looking into a bigger project. This is definitely something that you guys could hop onto, some type of like larger project for on campus. From what I understand, they're looking a lot at lighting. So we'll see. The sustainability committee will also be out on Green Street tomorrow from 10 to 2. We work a lot with like Sustainable Carolina, the Green Office, stuff like that. So, and we will also be at Coxstock on Friday. So exciting. All of our executive board will be working that in some regard. And we will also be at the homecoming Paint the Town block party in 5 Points on October 13th. I yield my time to questions.
The Vice President of RHA yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Vice President? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for reports from Senate leadership. Speaker Pro Tem Poor Hurd, you're recognized to give a report on the Rules Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. So Rules reported one piece of finance legislation out of committee this past Sunday, and when that hits the floor, we are going to have a floor amendment. So just be ready for that. And then in addition to that, I also wanted to share, we are beginning work with our delegations. I was able to meet with our engineering delegation this past week, and so some of the initiatives that they are working on is meeting with their dean, inspecting bathrooms, as well as proposing bathroom improvements to their college dean. And then finally, they're working on a roundtable within their college to connect organizations to student government resources, as well as use that as an opportunity to get additional feedback for further legislation. And so this is just, one example of what all of our delegations are going to be able to continue to accomplish over the course of the year. And I'm looking forward to meeting with our other delegations in similar casual spaces to just, really chat and go through the different issues we're seeing on a surface level and dig deeper to the actual policies that we can affect. And then finally, I also wanted to put a bug in everyone's ear about an attendance work group. We do have a group of senators who are interested in working on the codified process for absences and the way we handle everything leading up to the final vote. And so if you are interested in that process and you want to have input in the bill that's being drafted, please come up to me after or just shoot me a text and I'll be sure to add you to the group chat. All right, thank you all, and I yield to questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Creed, you are recognized.
Hi guys, the Academics Committee met 6 p.m. Monday in the LSC as usual. We talked a little bit more about some of the projects that we want to continue to work on. I'll be attending the sustainability meeting this week on Friday to discuss lighting in dorms study rooms as well, making them more sustainable but also enjoyable to study. And if it's really harsh lighting, that can affect your study. I'm planning some meetings with some members from the provost office to further some projects on advising, transfer credits, and other projects that not sustainability that academics intends on working on this semester. We're also in the works on bringing back headshots at the Horseshoe, maybe updating it a little bit. And I've also been in contact with LSU student body president to obtain some data on parking, sustainability, and other things that can help us further our initiatives and better our school. And with that, I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Chairman Kuhn, you are recognized.
Hello, everybody. Finance Committee met last Friday. Our typical time, 3:30. We had $23,000 that we approved in requests. So we were busy people up there. We are happy to resume our legislation talks very soon. We've just been very busy in committee, as I'm sure all my members can attest to. But yeah, I yield to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
Hi guys. Although we didn't formally meet this past week because some senators had commitments and health issues, we still got a lot of stuff done. So some of the main points that I want to touch on today, Senator Whitehead reached out to the Aramark director, Farron Alston, to kind of further the dietary restriction initiative that we're doing. With regard to the menstrual products initiative, we're going to be partnering with a campus organization called No Periods Left Behind, and we're going to be making product, like menstrual product like baskets, and we're going to be placing those in the library. We also hope to get Freshman Council, Health and Safety Committee involved in this initiative so that they can kind of see what we do in Senate. And then we'll also be reaching out to different bodies of Greek life, whether it's IFC, PanHel, and then NPHC to kind of help us with fundraising initiatives for the menstrual product drive. Second thing I want to touch on is the School of Pharmacy's flu shot drive. So that will be October 13th in Coker on the second floor. And the time of that will be 11 to 2. If you have any more questions about that, I definitely say talk to either me or talk to Senator Miller, who's our delegate for the School of Pharmacy. And then one last thing I kind of wanted to talk about is a future initiative that Health and Safety is going to be working on. We're going to be kind of assessing the group therapy sessions that they offer in the Student Health Center and maybe integrating some kind of central component to that, whether that be writing, music, art, some kind of central tenet that the therapy is centered around. So that'll be coming up soon if any of you guys are interested in collaborating with us. With all that being said, I yield my time to questions.
Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Inclusion and Equity Committee. Is there anyone willing to give a report on the committee's status? Senator Miller, you are recognized.
Inclusion Equity met today. We had a Zoom meeting at 4:30 today. Our vice chair, unfortunately, has resigned from Senate, so we are currently in the process of finding a new vice chair, and we'll be voting on that next week in our session. We also will be conducting an interview for the Deputy Secretary of Health and Wellness. I believe
You'll be conducting an interview for a
conducting
nominee.
an interview
the
for
executive cabinet.
a Deputy Secretary by the end of this week. And Chairwoman Bracey will be back next week for Senate, and I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you. You'll now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairman Bryant, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. So, per usual, the Judiciary Committee met this past Friday at 1 p.m. the LSC. The only thing to come out of Judiciary this week was that we passed SBL 11519. The committee found it unanimously favorable, so you'll see that tonight on the second uncontested reading calendar. But also, just as kind of like a note, I think if you have anything that you're working on that's like a bill that has to do with changing any of the codes or anything like that, I would ask that you come find me and everything. I think with just some past legislation, sometimes we have discrepancies or confusion about what some purposes are, and we think some of them could be alleviated if the Judiciary Committee gets a little bit more heads up of what's maybe coming, so we can do better research and see what's going on, since they do affect the codes and changes them. So if you're doing something like working with bills, the governing documents, please come find me. I love that stuff. I'm more than happy to talk to you. But with that, I will yield to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
We'll now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Chairwoman Baber, you are recognized.
So powers and responsibilities did not meet this past Monday because we needed a little break, and that's okay. We will be meeting this Monday at 7 p.m. We should be interviewing 3 to 4 candidates, depending on who responds to the email that I send out tonight. And I ask if you guys want to have a say in, who's being interviewed for Senate and, who gets in and whatever, then please join the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. It's so worth it. If you want to recruit people to Senate, please send them the form. It's on Garnet Gate. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Chairwoman Malachi, you are recognized.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. So Student Life met Monday at 6 p.m. We had a fantastic meeting. We had a lot of new senators come in, so we kind of talked about our new initiatives, things that we want to get done, and that was really all we did in there. I do have one more announcement I'd like to make, though. So Omicron Delta Kappa is a leadership honor society that recognizes students who excel in leadership in at least one of 5 areas. scholarship, athletics, campus media, creative performing arts, and campus community services, student government, social religious activities. ODK gives students leaders the opportunity to interact with student, faculty, and staff leaders. It is open to undergraduate and graduate students, faculty, and alumni, and is known and respected nationally within the circle over 300 schools across the country. The Chi Circle at USC is an active part of campus life. It sponsors University Awards Day, an Arbor Day project, the honor strolls worn during graduation ceremonies, and social events through the Carolina community. ODK is very selective in who it invites for the membership. I am pleased to announce that Isabel Whitehead has been chosen to become a part of ODK Chi Circle at USC. Congratulations, Isabel Whitehead. To accept your membership, you are required to attend ODK's sunrise service, which will be held on October 17th at 7 a.m. With that, I yield my time to questions.
Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, Senator Whitehead, if you would like to come up and receive your scroll, and Lauren, if we could get a picture of this, that would be awesome. Awesome. Congratulations, Senator. We will now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairwoman Heater, you are recognized.
Hey everyone! So the Sustainability Committee has been having a really productive week. So this past week we met with Larry Cook, who is the University Director of Sustainability. We started by discussing recycling on campus, and we will most likely be going on a tour of the facilities. But after our discussion, we figured out it might be more productive to explore some new directions. So those new directions include looking into requiring green certification, or at least encouraging green certification for student gov events, and potentially implementing some more sustainable standards for student gov funded events through the Finance Committee. Additionally, in order to follow up on this process of more green certified events, we will be meeting with Gloria Esteen from Sustainable Carolina next week. Additionally, we are also planning to pass more general climate legislation, which basically just shows student body support of more sustainable practices by the university. This would essentially be a more updated version of what was passed by the 112th Senate that's just a little bit more applicable to our current goals. Most importantly, tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., student government will be doing green on green tabling. This is really exciting. It will be the Sustainability Committee in conjunction with the Deputy Secretary of Sustainability, Peter Sutton, and also some freshman council volunteers, which we are super thankful for. So please come out to go pay us a visit, especially if you were in the Sustainability Committee. I'd love your help with tabling. The Sign Up Genius is in our GroupMe. For the upcoming meeting this Friday, we will be meeting at 2:30. Super excited to announce that we will be joined by President Emmy Thompson, because we'll be discussing an initiative to create like some sort of place to donate and reuse Greek life specific clothing, such as like boas and tutus and other themed items that are used for Greek life events. The goal of this would be to be more sustainable and just provide an outlet that doesn't already exist, and then also help Greek life become more affordable and accessible to others. We will also be joined by the Academics Committee Chair, Creed, to discuss LED lighting in study spaces, and we plan to collaborate with RHA on that same issue as well. Again, I hope to see you all on Green Street tomorrow for Green on Green from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and we would appreciate any help with tabling. And with that, I yield my time to questions. Thank you.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now have a report from the Freshman Council. Are there any representatives present? You guys are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, everyone. My name is Josh Evans, and I am on the Community Outreach Committee and Freshman Council. I am from Greenville, South Carolina, and currently I am majoring in neuroscience and anthropology.
Hi everyone, my name is Emmy Kohler and I'm a member of the Inclusion and Equity Committee on Freshman Council. I'm also from Greenville and I'm studying political science. We're so excited to be here with you all tonight and share a little bit about what our council is doing. As a whole, our council has already been focused on developing the interpersonal and professional skills of all of our members. Within the past week, we've strengthened our resumes. We've obtained advice from former student government member and recent graduate of USC Law School, Benjamin Jenkins, and we have attempted to produce a banner for homecoming. We have also volunteered at multiple student government-wide volunteer opportunities, including Stigma-Free Week events, and we will be at the Green on Green Sustainability Tabling event tomorrow.
So beginning with the academic committee, they hope to provide assistance to students taking midterms and final exams by compiling all study resources available into one place. They want to ensure that teachers are required to post the syllabus for their class at a minimum of 2 weeks before it begins. They want to produce a syllabus database similar to that at the University of Alabama, and they want to collaborate with the Health and Safety Committee to provide stress-relieving activities for students during finals week. For community outreach, we have been determining what it means exactly to be the Community Outreach Committee, and we're determining the best methods to differentiate ourselves from the other committees. We have discussed having a small business fair on Green Street, composing a resource for students to access service hour opportunities within Columbia, and reaching out to established organizations such as the Riverbank Zoo, State Museum, and organizers of Soda City to ask them about potential community outreach opportunities that student government could help strengthen and grow. For the Sustainability Committee, they are collecting canned tabs to donate to the Ronald McDonald House and would like to get in contact with the other sustainability committees within student government to discuss potential actions they may desire to take.
Currently, the Inclusion and Equity Committee is working on the possibility of a Hispanic Heritage Celebration event. We were hoping to do this within the next week, falling within that Hispanic Heritage Month, but due to planning and just recently getting into the roles, we're just looking to push that back to the first week of November around Dia de los Muertos. Within that, we'd love to see movies, cultural games, some local clubs to come and table for that event, and doing some dance and music. Beyond that, we're also looking at the possibilities of implementing a friend-finding program similar to Friender, which has been done at other universities, also been done in the past few years here at U of SC. We're also looking to address mental health, working with the health and safety committees and student life committees. The Health and Safety Committee is looking to hold a presentation during exam week on the importance of sleep, and they'd also love to have a professor guest speaker give a lecture with a 10-minute power nap in between. Beyond that, they're looking to create more transparency about transportation and translock systems through flyers and newspaper PSAs, and they're also working on hosting friend-finding events in Russell House Underground. Student Life is discussing various small projects right now, but their main goal is to hold a New Year's celebration in January where students can come create paper lanterns and push them onto the Thomas Cooper Library fountain as symbolism of things that they want to let go of in the new year.
Finally, as a reminder to all members of Congress, Freshman Council is still in search of bigs. Please, please, please consider taking part in this opportunity if you're not currently signed up. I know personally, if I don't get a big, I might cry. We yield our time to questions.
The representatives yield to questions. Are there any questions for the representatives? Chairwoman Baber.
I'm loving it. I'm having a blast. This is great. I love presenting. If you can't tell, we like talking. So this is so exciting, and getting to see some tangible change happening in our community. That's really empowering.
I also just love meeting all the new people. Like, everybody in FROCO is so determined and motivated, and it's just so great to be able to interact with these people and like say, I know that person, and know that they're gonna go on and do something big, especially like within the school.
Any other questions for the representatives? Chairwoman Ravi.
Absolutely. I'm sure they would appreciate that as well.
Any other questions? Chairman Kuhn. Any other questions for the representatives? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Buchmeyer, you are recognized.
Good evening, everyone. As usual, Constitutional Council has nothing to report at this time. It's good that we're getting some more members on the court. Look forward as the semester continues to see more and more people coming on. But with that, I yield to questions.
The Chief Justice yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you all.
We are now in line for a report from the Speaker of the Student Senate, Cameron Eubanks. Chief of Staff Tax, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, good to be back after missing Senate last week. So I'm gonna do exactly what Emily did last week, and I'm gonna continue doing this every single week until everybody fills out their Senate bio. So bear with me while I read out the names of everybody that hasn't filled it out yet. Ava Baber, William Barnes, Chandler Calder, Benjamin Koss, Macy Galt, Sebastian Goldstein, Nick Harvey, Jackson Hensley, Ian Hurd, Philip Howe, John Kwame, Klaus Lynn, Dania Malachi, Chancellor Nguyen, Bryson Peterson, Hema Vadlamani, Jacob Wenzel. Thank you. Please fill it out. I'm begging you. Also, if you haven't put a picture yet, please put a picture. Next, food for thought. So we realized that the original dates we had are during homecoming week, and we know that everybody probably has something going on in their respective clubs for HOCO. So we did move it to our backup dates, which are going to be October 24th and 25th. It's a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so we should be covering a good bit of the student population with those days. I'm really excited that we are going to be giving away chicken minis. So hopefully we get a good draw because we have chicken minis. I'm going to be sending out a sign-up genius. We have potential locations, and then we split up delegations amongst those. So there are about 2 to 3 delegations at each location. So if you are a small delegation, don't worry about it. You're going to have other people there. Next, SG-wide, I want to thank everybody for coming. If you've sent your excuse to me, I have it. Don't worry about it. Even if I didn't respond, I have it. I am comparing that list to the list that we have from people who scanned in. And if you didn't send me an excuse and you didn't come to SG-wide, we will be having a talk. Next, FROCO. Starting this next week, I will be sitting in FROCO until probably the rest of the year. So I'm going to be sitting in FROCO. And the point of that is to listen to what they're doing and kind of comparing that to what you guys are doing so I can give them resources to connect them with you. So you may have a few freshman council people sitting in every now and then. Freshman council also does have a mixer next week. I'm sure Aubriana's going to bring that up. Freshman council has a mixer next Monday at 6, from 6 to 7. If you signed up to be a mentor, please go, or at least try to go. And if you didn't sign up to be a mentor, please consider signing up. I did tell Ia I would take 10 people. Patrick's still taking 3. So if you could please sign up, I know that they would greatly appreciate it, and I would also greatly appreciate it. With that, I yield my time to questions.
And point of information, please let Courtney know whenever you're not going to be here. Like I said, this whole, new attendance policy, the SG-wide, is to encourage all of you to be active participants in this organization. And so all that we request is for you to send an email that takes 2 to 3 minutes tops. And to submit a picture that takes at least a minute tops. So please, just send an email when you're not going to be present. Because again, we don't want to have to, take away the graduation cords like the new attendance policy states. So please fill that out and make sure that we at least know what's happening with you and your life, so we're not worried about you. Yes. But any other questions for the Chief of Staff? Senator LaPenta.
Yes. Oh, it's not baskets. It's nothing like that. So I know my mentor last year was Reedy Newton, and we were both very busy people, so it was always, we would chat when we could. She would always check up on me, see how I was doing in student government. She was just there for me through the whole process. So it's similar, but it's nowhere near as extreme as like Greek life, Big Little.
Any other questions, Senator Morgan?
It has not been codified. It's with the chiefs kind of came up with the idea. I did bring that up to rules though. I did speak to rules about it. So we could potentially be going forward with codifying it. However, there is also nothing in the codes about chords. So technically, there's a little bit of.
And point of information, the graduation chords are determined by the advisors. So the chief of staff is completely correct in the assumption that in the codes there is nothing specifically stating the process of graduation chords. That is all determined by the amount of hours you complete in your role or position. So this SG-wide attendance policy does not necessarily need to function within the codes and constitution. Any other questions with the chief of staff? Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
There's a form in both the 115th student group me and the overall student government group me. I will resend them again and I'll probably pin them, but they are in there.
Chairwoman Heater.
I think Aubriana can send it to me and then I can send it to you guys to see who's already signed up. Patrick signed up 3 times, so.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the student body treasurer. Treasurer Akbak Lama, you are recognized. Chief of Staff Duty, you are recognized in her place.
Hello, everyone. Hannah couldn't be here. She's adamantly studying for multiple tests tomorrow, so I'm here instead. But we don't have too much to update. We have a treasurer's workshop this Friday at 2:30. It's going to be virtual. It's on the Garnet Gate. It was sent out to all the club's treasurers and presidents. If you need that link, just go to Garnet Gate. It's there, or you can reach out to us. Also, I forgot to mention this last time, but I forget what it's called. It's like a round table at Darla Moore. It's basically the presidents and vice presidents of each Darla Moore related organizations who go and they have their own meeting. And they're sort of kicking that up with Dean Verma coming in as the new dean. But they were really interested in Senate. There was multiple people asking about Senate. Like the first question was, what does Senate do? So they're interested in also getting more people involved in Senate from Darla Moore, maybe not specifically Senate, but also other parts of student government. And I mentioned that there is a delegation chair, and that chair has been invited to, I don't know exactly who it is. You? Okay, you've been invited to the round table and up this month, but also like when they meet once a month, and I can get you the like specific times and everything. But like, I mean, it's really, they just go and they meet and just talk about a bunch of different stuff and how to make the faculty, staff, and organizations work better together. So I'd love to meet you, talk about Senate a little bit. So yes, also the dean pops in from time to time, which is pretty cool. But other than that, yeah, that's all. I yield my time to questions.
Are there any questions, Senator Keene?
Perfect.
Chairman Kuhn.
Yeah. Yes, I think, yes. It's once a month, Fridays at noon, yes.
Chairman Kuhn. Any other questions for the Chief of Staff? Chairwoman Baber.
I don't know, because I did, like, they were just really interested about Senate, and also, like, one of them mentioned in passing, like, having, like, people from each major, so, like, 2 marketing majors, like, 2 finance, which they would have to do, like, an internal election for. So I don't think that wasn't really, like, completely thought through, but I think they are interested in joining, and could send that link over to them. But I'm not entirely sure. They were interested in Senate and student government, though.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Vice President. Vice President Aubriana Reeves, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great week so far. But just kind of on some points with the Moore School Org Council that Sean was talking about, basically what some of the ideas they were saying, one, they just really didn't know what Senate was at all. And so they were just like quite literally, someone said, oh, what do they do? So I think getting like a little bit more clarification there, Sean gave some more information, but they also discussed, along with like the having just more participation in people for the Darla Senator elections, having possibly representatives from each college from Senate talk about things that are going on in each of the colleges, just because getting like the Moore School events on their radar that are open to everyone and getting the other colleges, just getting more interaction between each college is just kind of some of the ideas they were talking about. So I think it would be a cool opportunity for y'all to be at. And then this week we recorded the first episode for the season for the Inside 1801 podcast. We had Miss Caroline Salisbury, the president of Homecoming, there. Super exciting. So if y'all have any ideas for like topics, guests, I know my director of outreach, Bryn, sent out a form a little while back in the group me. But if you have any fun ideas, let me know. We'll see how we can work them in there. But besides that, this week has been Sigma Free Week. It's gone pretty well so far. I had a great time at the panel last night. I thought there was good discussion going on. I know I learned a lot. There were some connections made, especially with Freshman Council and Dr. Ross Alexander. So hopefully those relationships will be continued. And then tomorrow, after you stop by Green on Green, come by the If You're Reading This tabling. We're partnering with the If You're Reading This organization and kind of providing some encouragement. So stop by, write a little note for someone else, take a note for encouragement, because with all these exams, I know I need some encouragement, so I'm sure you could too. But with my staff and comms, we will be doing a mid-semester check-in in the next couple of weeks, like one-on-ones between me and them. So if any of y'all have feedback, this goes for always, please let me know whether that's positive, negative feedback. I just want to hear everything, considering especially comms works with you as well. So just always feel free to email me, text me, come up to me if you see me. Just let me know if there's any suggestions you have. But with that, I yield the questions.
Are there any questions for the Vice President? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body President. President Thompson, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, I hope you're having a good week so far. I want to use my report today to read y'all my veto memorandum for SBL 11512. So in my capacity as Student Body President, I hereby veto SBL 11512 on the grounds that it does not best serve the interests of the student body or the organization. I find no fault with the part of the bill that edits section 21020 that reads, the Student Senate shall hold their first regular session no earlier than 2 weeks and no later than 3 weeks following the inauguration of the new Student Senate. I understand the importance of senators being able to write and pass legislation as soon as possible in order to best serve student needs, and I would sign a bill that would codify the start of the new Senate session. I believe the goal of decreasing time where legislation is not being passed can be accomplished solely through a bill like this. I veto this bill with the reason that section 4610 now reads, the inauguration of new student government officers shall be held no later than 4 weeks following regular student body elections. This would cut down the transition time and hinder the organization from finding qualified candidates to fill the positions on the executive cabinet, the communications team, comptrollers, and staff. Decreasing the transition time would not give the student body enough time to properly go through the application process. Executive officers-elect are already working all day long and into the night to go through the applications of students for positions and hold interviews. Should this bill be signed into legislation, I fear that candidates would come in with predetermined staff, as they would not have adequate time to search for the most qualified person for each role. This would not be fair to the student body, specifically those who want to be a part of student government. We want to ensure all students have an equal opportunity to serve their peers, and this bill would hurt that chance. I greatly value the work that all of you do, and I really am proud of the efforts contributing to a bill that will allow us to maximize our time of serving the student body and I look forward to hopefully signing a revised bill in the future. That I yield for questions.
Are there any questions for the student body president? Chairman Bryant.
I'm perfectly comfortable with the section 21020 that now reads with the codifying when Senate starts. That is like of no issue to me. I purely am just concerned about the transition timeline. Of course.
Any other questions for the student body president? Senator.
I would not be opposed to that.
And point of information, the bill itself was already passed last week, and it went to the president's desk to be signed, and she chose to veto the bill. She can't line item a veto, so it is a veto of the entire piece of legislation. So if based on your proposition, if a new bill were to come, it would have to go through the entire legislative process once again.
But like I said, I would happily welcome the chance to sign a revised bill that purely codifies when Senate starts. I do understand the need for that.
Senator. I'm not going to recognize that motion purely just because the bill itself cannot be divided because the bill was already voted on by the entire Student Senate. I would have recognized that motion last week. Any other questions for the student body president? Point of information, that was a great use of that motion, just a week too late. So great motion, use it perfectly. Just when the Student Senate is actually discussing the bill itself, that's when we can divide the question. You're completely okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. We are now in line for special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other? The clerk will now read.
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate requesting a 1-week extension for the following positions: Assistant Clerk.
The question is of a 1-week extension to the appointment of Assistant Clerk. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The extension is granted. Continuing on.
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate concerning the resignation of Adasia Darby from the position of Student Senator.
Received. Continuing on.
A communication from the Office of the Student Body President concerning the nomination of Cal Reunion to the following position: Elections Commission Member.
The nominee is referred to the Judiciary Committee. Continuing on.
A communication from the Office of the Student Body President concerning the presidential veto of SBL 11512, introduced by Senator Morgan, a bill to amend the codes regarding the transition period following the student government elections. This communication can be found online.
Is there any senator who wishes to motion to override the veto of SBL 11512? Seeing none, this communication is now received as information. Continuing on.
Application of Ellie Tanner and Rylan Dodds to be seated in the 115th Student Senate.
These applications are referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on. Seeing no more special orders of the Student Senate, we are now in line for the motion period. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Kwame. There's been a motion to remove the senator from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Lapsley. There's been a motion to add the senator to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Lapsley. There's been a motion to remove the senator from the Student Life Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Kwame. There's been a motion to add the senator to the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Galvadi. There's been a motion to remove the senator from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Lynn. There's been a motion to remove the senator from the Sustainability Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Lynn. There's been a motion to add Senator Lynn to the Finance Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Howe. There's been a motion to remove the senator from the Sustainability Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any other motions on the floor? Senator Kaye. There's been a motion to add Senator Kaye to the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense of the motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now on the call of the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11520, introduced by Senator Vaught, a recommendation to permit the Senate Finance Committee to allocate funds to student organizations.
Senator Vaught, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
This week in Finance Committee, we had 10 clubs request a total of $23,331.18. The Finance Committee approved an allocation to 7 clubs totaling $17,563.48. The clubs are as follows: Carolina Dance Science, Women in Business Council, Association for Computing Machinery, Mock Trial Team, American Society of Mechanical Engineers, American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and the Indian Cultural Organization.
Do you yield to questions?
I yield to questions.
Senator Vaught yields to questions. Are there any questions for Senator Vaught? Chairman Kuhn. There's been a motion to add Amendment 1 to the to SBL 11520. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Do the sponsor of this bill find the amendment friendly?
I find it friendly.
The bill is found friendly and the amendment is adopted. Any other questions for Senator Vaught? Seeing none, thank you so much. Is there a motion to pass by acclamation? Is there a second? Does a senator have a motion to pass by acclamation? Excuse me. There's been a motion to pass SBL 11520 by acclamation. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on with the call of the introduction for new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 115.
Hearing none, we are now on the call of the uncontested calendar. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11519, introduced by Senator Pro Tempore Hurd, a bill to reform the codes regarding delegation assignments.
Speaker Pro Tempore Hurd, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Good afternoon again. I'll keep this short, but this is pretty much a simple piece of legislation. It does two things. Currently, there are only 2 ways to get on a delegation. 1, you're elected to it. 2, you're appointed to it when you fill a Senate seat. This just allows that if there is a vacancy in a college that you are in, like let's say I'm College of Arts and Science and I fill a seat and I'm representing the law school, which is what happened to me last year. If College of Arts and Sciences opens up, I would be able, under this bill, to move back into College of Arts and Science. And the reason why this is important is because currently Senator Lynn is meeting with the engineering delegation. There is a vacancy in the engineering delegation, and he wants to serve his college, but under our current codes, he cannot. And then finally, the other provision allows that in the case of a delegation not having any representation, we can move a senator from their delegation into an empty delegation, so that way we are representing every college our institution was sent here to serve. Thank you. I yield to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields to questions. Chairwoman Baber. Point of information, anytime that I ask for questions, you don't have to say point of inquiry. You can just ask the question.
Yes, Carolina Life.
And point of information, if Senator Lynn, under the proposed codes, were to switch, School of Music would then also be empty as well. Any other questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Senator LaPenta.
No, so to be clear, it's based on what college you're enrolled in. Yeah.
Senator Hensley.
Currently? So currently, it is provided that if a senator fills a vacant seat, the speaker appoints them to any vacancy. But the issue is that some senators, like Senator Lynn's case, get appointed when College of Engineering is full, but now it's empty. Had he applied 3 weeks later, he would be representing his real college right now.
Senator Hensley.
So under the current process, it allows that any senator may move themselves into an empty delegation. But what would happen in practice is, me in coordination with the Speaker's office would find strong senators who can fill in and represent a college that needs representation. Because currently, what will happen, and I can tell you for a fact, is the Powers and Responsibilities Committee is going to have to appoint a brand new senator and then simultaneously ask them to be the chair of that delegation. And I just don't think that's fair.
Any other questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Chairman Kuhn.
So if I'm understanding your hypothetical correctly, there wouldn't be swapping. This is one motion by motion. And a motion to move from one delegation to any delegation is never in order unless it is completely empty. Now, delegation chairs is a completely different animal because your delegation chair can resign and then we deal with that separately. But this is composition specifically of the general membership of delegations.
Any other questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? And point of information, I actually misspoke. Senator Lynn is actually in the College of Nursing, but the situation would still happen if a senator were to move out of the School of Music, then it would be vacant. Any other questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Seeing none, thank you so much. Since this is on the second reading uncontested calendar and there are no more questions, we will move to a vote on the legislation. This shall be a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on the call of the uncontested calendar, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now on the call of the contested calendar. The clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Seeing none, we are now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor? Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
As you all know, I'm passionate about psychiatry and science and student government, but I'm also very passionate about fat bears. And with that being said, it's Fat Bear Week in Katmai National Park in Alaska. So this is basically my March Madness, because I don't watch basketball like that. But basically, you can go on the National Park website and vote for which fat bear you think is the cutest. They literally have like a fat bear bracket, guys. I'm not even joking. So you can go vote for the fat bears. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Fat Bear Week is from October 4th to October 10th. And from a scientific perspective, this is really important because bears are getting ready to hibernate and they need to eat and they need to put on a lot of weight. So go vote for your favorite fat bear, guys. Yeah, with that, I yield to some very important questions that you may have.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions, Senator Lynn?
Oh, they're by numbers. So I already voted. So there were 2 bears today. Who did I vote for? This is a great question. I voted for bear. I don't want my vote to influence yours, but I voted for 806 Spring Cub, and then I voted for 402 Mama Bear. So those are the 2 bears that I voted for today. Yeah.
Are there any other questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Are there any other announcements on the floor? Senator Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As always, any day is a great day to be a Gamecock, but I have a point that I want to bring up that would make everybody be even more proud to be a Gamecock. Mr. Speaker, I recently had the opportunity to go attend the first equestrian match for the University of South Carolina over in Blythewood. It was on Friday, September 22nd. And Mr. Speaker, we are ranked number 8 nationally. Can you believe that? That's incredible. And we beat number 9 University of California at Davis by a score of 11-8. Don't ask me how that stuff is scored. I don't know. But it was entertaining. And recently, we just beat the University of Tennessee at Martin, ranked number 10 in the country, by a score of 14-4. In addition, Mr. Speaker, USC has a rich history of this equestrian program, 2005, 2007, and 2015 national champions. Can y'all believe that? That's outstanding. In addition, 2013 and 2014 SEC champions. Yeah, give it up for them. They deserve it. In addition, Mr. Speaker, I think this is worth noting, Natalie Jane and Chloe Stevens were named the National Collegiate Equestrian Association Riders of the Month. So you see, folks, the equestrian team for USC is doing great things. Y'all should go out and support them. It's a hop, skip, and a jump over to Blythewood, 25 minutes, 20 if you speed. Don't recommend it. But it's really quick to get there, entertaining too. And I will wrap up by saying that our next match, our next home match, is a doubleheader Friday, November the 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. against Texas A&M and at 2 p.m. against the College of Charleston. Please go out and support these girls. They need all the support they can get. I yield the questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Senator Kaye.
No. Absolutely not.
Any other questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other announcements from the floor? Seeing no other announcements, as always, I do have an announcement. Just to echo what Courtney said, our Food for Thought initiative has new dates, October 24th and the 25th. We will be giving out chicken minis. So please make all efforts to help out your delegation and to help out your fellow senators by being present and being ready to take down concerns of students. Like I said, the locations will be coming out within the next week and a half, plus the new digital platform that will be capturing all of the concerns. And then once we get that data will be shared across all 3 branches of student government, so that we all can be working in tandem to solve the concerns of our constituents and the student body. We will be having a meeting with the delegation chairpersons later in the next week and a half to 2 weeks before the event to talk about our expectations, also to talk about what a delegation chairperson looks like and how to best succeed in that position. So we're super excited about that. Be on the lookout for an email from my Director of Senatorial Outreach in partnership with the Speaker Pro Tempore about that meeting. And this is just a fun announcement because I don't give many fun announcements. I mean, this is fun. I don't give many like non-student government related announcements. But the University of South Carolina's Department of Theater and Dance, their first main stage show of the season is opening this Friday. It is the very first children's-based play in the history of the university. We are doing Sideways Stories from Wayside School. It is by the author who wrote the famed book Holes. It is based on his hit children's book, chapter book series. I do play one of the supporting leads in it. So I would love for all of you to come out and support the department. I do get to play a 2nd grader, so you will get to see me act like a child, which is always a lot of fun. But the costuming and the design team are all professionals. A lot of them are equity and from New York City, so they've come down to present this project to the university and the Columbia community. And so I highly encourage you to go out and support your fellow Gamecocks in their production, but also the people that have worked on it. The poster is up in the LLC, so if you want to know about dates, it's the 6th through the 14th, 8 performances. Please, if you have any questions or concerns about it, let me know. If you use the discount code Wayside Save, all the tickets are $10. So please go out and support the theater department and this monumental production. It's in Drayton Hall Theater, right beside Wardlaw College, right across from the J School, so super close to campus. And it is a comedy that is cross-generational. Promise, if you're 8 years old to 40 years old, you're going to find it funny regardless. So it's an amazing production, and I hope you guys get to see it. I will now open it up to questions. Senator Morgan. Yep. If you don't use the code, tickets usually range from $15 to $25, depending on your classification as a student or an adult or a senior or anything like that. Any other questions? Chairwoman Ravi. It unfortunately will not. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't come and see it, because we would love to have students come and watch our wonderful productions. So, any other questions? Seeing none, are there any other announcements on the floor? With no further announcements, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, October 11th, 2023.